everybody, my name is Gaticus, and today I'm going to do a totally amateur review of the Arturia Polybrute. It is a 6-voice analog synthesizer with lots of different features like a wonderful mod matrix and morph, like a morph ability, so you can go from one patch to the other and like seamlessly morph into that or put the two of them together. It has, like I said, 6-voice polyphony. And it is actually really well engineered in the sense that it has 2 filters per voice. You can use one filter, which is a Steiner filter, or you can use a ladder filter, or you can use both at the same time, so sending the signal through that. And as I said, it's per voice, so that means that, for example, if you press 1 or like 5 notes, and then you press another 5 notes, well, let's just say 3 and 3, it's not going to cut the tail off of the first 3 notes to make the second 2, because it's running each voice through its own independent filter. So it's really well engineered in that. Anyway, it's a beautiful synthesizer, and I can't wait to show you. In the video review, I'm going to go over all of, start with going over the outside, looking at the inputs, outputs, and the outside of the device. Second part of the review, I'm going to go deeper into what the synthesizer can do. And in the third part of the review, I'm just going to do a demo of different patches already on the device and run some sequences and things like that. As this is a totally amateur review, that means that there will be some things that I don't fully understand, because I have a lot of synthesizers and I love playing with synthesizers, but I am completely an amateur. So keep that in mind when you watch this. The purpose of the review is more so to give you a view of what the synthesizer is like from the perspective of somebody who just loves synthesizers but isn't a professional at them. Anyway, that's it for this part. Let's get on to the second part. Alright, so here we are looking at the outside of the device. As you can see, it's made beautifully with nice wood accents and wood paneling all over the device. And when you get to the sides here, it's kind of cool. They have a mesh material right here, or like a textured material right here, which is metal. Aside from the knobs and the rubber buttons here, there's no plastic on the device. It is metal and wood all the way, baby. It's got a very nice layout. You've got your VCOs right here, 1 and 2. You've got your filter, like filter for FM. I don't know, I haven't used it. Your noise right here. I should get the camera into the right area. Over here you've got your polyphony modes, which are poly, unison, and mono. Before I get into all the front of this, let's just have a look physically at the outside of it. So you've got your control panel up here, mod matrix and stuff like that. Here you've got a morph thing, which has X, Y, and Z. So this is capacitive, so if you touch it, it goes X and Y like this, and then Z happens from pushing it down. It's quite like, there's quite a bit of pressure, so you don't have to worry about it like hitting the bottom very easily. You can finely adjust how much you press it, and it has an effect on the sound. If I can find a patch that is loud enough. I just got to turn up the speakers, hold on. Otherwise you can't hear it. Also, apologies for the entirety of this review. I will be, like any sounds that I make, I will be doing through the monitors, not directly line in, because my Zoom H6 is broken, so I can't do the line in anymore. But I'll do my best to make sure that the camera is near the monitors, so the sound should be quite pure. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. For now, let's just... So right now this Morphe is set to the filter cutoff, and then I'm not sure what the XY is, but the Z is filter cutoff. And you can really hear that. This is a wonderful piece of the device. It is really good for expression with playing different pieces and then using this thing to adjust it. It's wonderful. You've got your pitch and mod wheel as usual. One thing I will say is I really like the pitch bend on here. It's a bit like looser than what I'm used to, and I don't mean that in a negative sense. It's not looser in the sense that it's like, oh, so annoying loose, but in the sense that it is comfortable to turn up and down. It's not like, you see when I let it go, it doesn't snap back. In contrast, something like my Voyager here, it's very tight, so
it snaps back like that and bounces all over the place. Maybe somebody likes that, or maybe some people like that, but personally, I like the feeling of this one better. It'd be harder to have accidental slips on it when you're playing, especially if your fingers got sweaty or something. You wouldn't like accidentally like let it slip, and it doesn't pull too hard back to the center position. Mod wheel is perfectly smooth. I'm glad they used metal on the mod and pitch bend wheels because it just has a nice feeling of quality and weight to them. Let's go around to the back of the device and see the input outputs. So over here, you've got your master out, left and right. Right now I'm just hooked up through left mono because I need to go and buy more wires. But this is the kind of synth that you really want to have left and right plugged in because it has wonderful panning, like automated panning between the two. Some of the patches on here are almost binaural where they can play with each other and like tickle your ears. It's wonderful. Over here, you've got your, I guess, some kind of sync. I'm not sure what this is for, but in and out. Your expression 1 and 2 pedals and then sustain pedal. You've got memory protection right here, so if you don't want somebody to like mess with your patches on here, you can click that switch and then they can't save any of the patches. Your MIDI in, out, and through, your USB-B, your on-off switch, and your power switch. And that is it for the I/O and for the back of the device. And then over here, you can get a better view of over here. You can't really see the texture in the video, but it's kind of like, it's a gnarly texture. Imagine like thick leather, but it's metal, but it's that kind of texture. And then you've got your wood accents right here. The keys, I don't know if they were like semi-weighted or just regular, but they're light. They're light, but they're not like flimsy feeling at all. They don't feel weak. So it's still pleasant to play. I would say it is comparable to the Minimoog Voyager, although the Minimoog Voyager feel heavier than these ones. These ones definitely feel lighter. But again, they don't feel flimsy. And of course, this keyboard has aftertouch. It isn't the aftertouch that I like personally. It's not bad. It's not too stiff to get into the aftertouch, but it doesn't have that secondary press feeling. Like for example, on here, if you press down on a key, there's actually an extra level, and you can even hear it. Listen here. There's a second level there. So you push down, it goes all the way down, and then there's this like extra bit of like wink that you can push down into. On here, it doesn't have that. It's just push down harder and the aftertouch is activated. So, I mean, I personally would have preferred that extra tiny little bit of like level in there for the aftertouch, and I've played with a couple other keyboards that have that, but it's not a huge loss. I mean, at least the aftertouch on here feels really good, so it's not like such a big deal. Okay, so now we're gonna look at all of this stuff here, okay? All these different like knobs and stuff and see what they are. So we already talked about the VCO 1 and 2 and these parts right here. Polyphony over here, you can press this button to switch through mono, poly, and unison. I'm guessing unison is going to use more voices per note. Mono, of course, plays like a mono and would probably allocate more voices to each note. And then your poly right here. Of course, I'm not on a poly patch. Well, I'm gonna find a poly patch here. Yeah, so poly works wonderfully. I can press the 6 notes at the same time. And again, like I said, the filter is filter per voice, 6 voice polyphony. So like basically it's 6 filters in total. I really can't undersell how wonderful that is because, for example, using something like the Medusa right here, the Medusa can do 6 note polyphony, let's put that in quotes, polyphony in the sense that it's paraphonic, but there's only one filter, and it's not a filter per voice. So the way this thing does polyphony is it uses each oscillator, and there are 6 oscillators in here, 3 digital and 3 analog. It uses each oscillator as a note. But I can press, like, let's say 3 notes, but as soon as I press 3 more notes, any sustain from the original notes is gone because it just puts the new notes into the filter, and the filter immediately drops the notes that were played before. As opposed to on here, where the notes, like if you press 3 notes and then 3 more, it doesn't drop the ones before because there's more filter to go around and make sure that it sustains. Anyway, let's have a look at the filters. We've got 2 filters. We've got a Steiner filter and a ladder filter right here. And as I'm a total amateur, I know what they are in name, but I don't really know like the architecture of them or anything. But we can actually hear the like different filters. Right now, VCO1 is going through the Steiner filter and VCO2 is going through the ladder filter. But let's just turn it up to both the ladder filter here. And we can go through the Steiner filter. So the cutoff right now is lower on that. Let's turn it up. Now the filters are kind of comparable. So go back to the Steiner filter. It's similar, but of course you can do different things. Oh, there's my cat trying to break in. What do you want? Trying to break into the room. You can do different things with the 2 different filters and make them like the differences between them change based upon what you like, how you tune each filter. So right now they sound similar, but if I were to tune them, they could sound quite different. There's also the metallic. Oh, where did it go? I forget where they put it. Oh, the metalizer on VCO1 here is another thing that apparently is an important feature. Now, is my VCO up? Well, apparently I'm not. Can't really hear it because this patch doesn't really accentuate it, but apparently the metalizer is a big feature of this. Another feature of this that's very important is the morph knob. Morph will go between basically 2 different patches. And I say basically, and it's actually 2 different patches. And I'm sure there's a way to set the 2 different patches in here, but I haven't figured it out yet. But let's just go off the presets here. If I'm right now on B, and then go to A, and then put them together, yeah. So the morph will go between the 2, and for some of these patches it works really wonderfully. And if you make your own patches, you can make those patches with the morph in mind, so that you can make them have a really good symbiosis where they sound wonderful together, switching between the morph. A lot of people like to do like playing and then use like sweeping the filter and going between like low and high filter. And this is just another element of that. Instead of doing filter sweeps, you do patch sweeps, and it just, it can just blow your mind. Speaking of filters or filter cutoff, if you look here, there's a master cutoff right here that actually controls the cutoff for both filters, but you have individual filter cutoffs too. So if you're running dual filters, let's see here. If you're running dual filters, let's turn them both down. even though they're both set to off, the master cutoff overrides that and will both boost them both to 100% if you want to, just by doing the master cutoff. Or you can do them individually. So now it's running through. Okay. Running through two different, like both the filters at the same time. Very cool. You've got three envelopes here. You've got the VCA envelope, or VCF, VCA, and mod envelope. I don't really know, I keep getting the camera out of frame. I don't really know much about using the mod envelope yet. That's something I still need to learn. That's one of the wonderful things about this synthesizer that I'll get into in a minute, is learning more about synthesis. But I usually use the VCA envelope, and I find that makes the biggest change to it. So yeah, so that's the shape of the sound that I know. Anyway, let's go up to here. We've got three LFOs, LFO 1, 2, and 3, and of course they're assignable in the mod matrix, and you can use them with the mod wheel. Yeah, and you can change their behavior, and it does all the normal stuff. You've got lots of different wave shapes for the two LFO 1 and 2, like lots of different wave shapes, 6 in total. That's pretty awesome. You've got your monopoly and retrig, which I haven't used yet. And you've got down here for LFO3, it's a bit more basic, but you've got, like, for example, symmetry. I don't even know if it's activated. Let's just pretend that it is. I forgot to mention down here, you've actually got a ribbon controller. And that can be assigned to absolutely anything. And it's nice. It's a capacitive ribbon controller, but it works through wood. It's quite a nice little touch. I've played with a ribbon controller before on the Moog Voyager XL, and I don't use it so much, but I mean, I guess it's neat that it's there. A lot of people seem to really like ribbon controllers. The thing with the Moog Voyager XL is, in order to make the ribbon actually work, you have to plug it in using patch cables, which is pretty funny because on here you just do it all digitally. Anyway, on to the big thing, the thing that everybody's going to notice first probably, is all the buttons here. Like, holy crap, that's a lot of buttons. This is multi-purpose. It works for patches, for choosing different patches. So right now it's on preset. I can do that and just immediately change. Change between different patches. Let me just change that so it's not continually ringing. I can change quickly between different patches. I can click on mods right here and start doing allocation of like mod stuff. So for example, it's telling us, let's see if I can remember this. I've only done it once so far. It's telling us all the different mods. There's all the pages. So right now, like for example, 7 is empty. And if I hold 7 and turn, for example, let me try to do this. I just turned the master cutoff knob right there. And by holding 7 and then turning the master cutoff knob right there, it says master cutoff right there. And then down here, I can choose whatever I want to adjust with the master, or like with that mod. So for example, I can choose, that's the destination, and I can choose the source. So for example, LFO2 and then 7, press that like that, turn up the amount. You can see it changing on the screen right there. Okay, so now LFO2 is doing master cutoff. And then, of course, the mod matrix can be used to so much more purpose than I have. Like you can you can modify the LFO1, or like you can change it so the LFO1 is modifying the LFO2, which is modifying the filter cutoff, and then you can make the ribbon controller modify the LFO1 so that, or like activate it and like do even more with that. So it's just crazy what you can do with this mod matrix. And that's one thing I wanted to mention. One thing I love about this mod matrix is on all of my other synths, the mod matrix is the thing that I know the least about, because you got to use knobs and menus to do assigning and stuff like that. It basically just kept the mod matrix a complete mystery to me. But this way, with the way that it's laid out and just pressing a button and turning a knob, and then suddenly that's your destination, and then physically choosing whichever source you want right here, and just assigning it like that, it has made the mod matrix so much easier for me to understand. So as a total amateur, it's, I think, an awesome feature to have the mod matrix laid out the way that it is. So this little grid right here is actually quite useful for like many things. You've got your presets right here, which you can easily choose. You've got your mods right here, which you can easily assign. You've got your sequencer right here, which you can set up the steps and you can see them physically playing, and you can go to each step and see like it'll be blinking. Let's see. There is currently no sequence, but if I press play twice, it'll pause it right there, and then I can adjust it, or like make any adjustments that I want. There I'm assigning steps, and I can assign notes. I'm basically telling how many steps it'll be. There's different menus to go into to adjust how many steps and how fast it goes into what time divisions and stuff like that. But anyway, the sequencer is powerful. It's up to 64 steps. It would be nice if it was 128, but 64 is lots to work with, I guess. Sorry for the continual messages. And it's quite a powerful sequencer. Anyway, after the sequencer is the morph, and I'm going to tell you, I don't have a lot of experience with morphing right now. I don't know how to do it at all, but this is where you can assign what this morph knob does and which patches it morphs between. I would tell you more if I knew more, but that's something that I just have to learn. Anyway, let's continue moving over here to what you've got for knobs on the top here. You've got your, like right here, stereo panning. Stereo separation. I keep saying panning, but it's actually doing stereo separation. And as I said, it does this wonderful thing where it's like binaural. It really plays with the ears in such a wonderful way. So you can make some of your patches, like if you've got a song that's like 10 different tracks and you put one of these patches on one of those tracks, that track can really play with the listener's ears and make them feel like that song is special. And I can't really demo it because I've got it plugged in through mono right now. I don't have enough patch cables for stereo sound at the moment. I apologize. Anyway, you've got your fine tune for that, headphones level, master volume. Down here you've got your effects section. There are a few different effects. There's modulation and there's type, and if I hold the shift button, which means I have to bring the camera down for a second, one sec. Where's the shift button? Where did you go, shift button? Oh, settings button. If you hold the settings button and press that, that's right. Any button or knob that has this little circle underneath, if you press it and then press the settings button, it'll bring the settings up just for that thing. So right now it says modulation alt present. So now right now I'm basically able to edit whatever the modulation is here, whatever other effect, flanger, phaser, ring mod, bit crusher, soft flanger, phase flanger, down sampler. Those are the effects in this modulation right here. Then you've got dedicated effects for delay and reverb. And the reverb sounds pretty good. So let me just give it a try here. You've got three types of reverbs here. You've got Hall, Plate, and then Alt. you can change the type. So right now it says reverb alt preset. You've got, let's get into focus here. You've got a bright plate, a room, dreamy, springy, and relaxed plate. So let's try dreamy 3. Okay. So it's kind of a shimmer on there. We've got springy. Let's try that out. Yeah, and then the last one is a delayed plate. Let's give that a try. Yeah, you can really hear that reverb. It's quite a nice reverb. I would say that it is a really nice reverb. It sounds wonderful, especially the plate. I actually quite like the plate. I quite like the plate reverb, but I still don't think this reverb sounds quite as good as the Novation Peak. Novation Peak reverb. That is just the gold standard for included reverbs. I have an Eventide H9 pedal right here, and it has some wonderful reverbs, probably the best I've ever heard. But for built-in effects, the Novation Peak has the best reverb I've ever heard. We're not even going to talk about the Access Virus. Something like the ASM Hydrosynth, it has a decent reverb. I would say that the reverb built into the Arturia Polybrute is better sounding than the HSM or ASM Hydrosynth, and it's better than the Access Virus. But again, not as good as the Peak. Anyway, down here we have our sequencer and arpeggiator. So right now it's set to sequencer mode. If I set it to art mode, yeah, pretty simple. I can change the rate and things like that. Where is it? Here it is. Maybe not the best sounding patch to do. Was the other one here? Kind of a twangy patch. But anyway, you can hear the arpeggiator. It's exactly what you'd expect for an arpeggiator. There are probably some settings that I can do for it, but I haven't gotten that deeply into it. You do have your recorder right here for recording sequences and arpeggios. And I've done a bit of sequence work, if I could remember which patch it was. Let's go to patches here. Right now I'm in... Where was it? Yeah. Yeah, so you can play around with the arpeggio or with the sequencer like that. And the cool thing about the sequencer is, as far as I know, you can record it in time with the tempo of the device with the metronome, or you can just do steps. So you could be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and of course it is polyphonic. It is a polyphonic sequencer, so it's not just one note at a time. But you can play it the two different ways. Play along with a metronome and play, or if you're like me and you have terrible timing, then you can just do it in steps. I have absolutely horrible timing. I always get it wrong. I'm like trying to, you should see when I try to live record into tracks on my MPC Live, and it's like, okay, let's do that again. Okay, let's do that again. Okay, let's do that again. Yeah. Now, one thing I will complain about this synthesizer, and it's not really a complaint, it's actually just an attention to detail. When you just turn on the device, my room is kind of cold, so when I just turn it on, it always asks me if I want to calibrate it. And when I first bought it and first started turning it on, I thought that that was something that I should do every time. This time I skipped it and it still sounds wonderful. But I was doing this every time, and if you do it, if you do the calibration, it can take more than 10 minutes to calibrate. Now, cool that it's really thorough and it's wonderful, and again, you don't have to do that step, but I didn't know that, and so here I was doing the calibration each time because like the synthesizer's telling me it's cold. I'm cold, baby, let me warm up. But holy crap, it takes such a long time. The loading bar just goes forever, and then a new loading bar goes forever, and then a new, oh goodness gracious. So if you're gonna tune your synth when you turn it on, go get a coffee or a tea or, I don't know, like read a book until it's done. And yeah, that's about my only complaint with it. Anyway, that's going to be it for this part of the review. I hope I haven't missed anything about the outside of the device or the way that it works. And for the last part of the review, I'm going to do a demo of the synthesizer, going through the different patches and playing with my horrible keyboard skills. And yeah, for that part of the review, the camera will be quite far back because I want to be closer to the speakers, which means my 10-year-old daughter will be helping me record that. And yeah, let's just get into that. So I'll see you guys in a second.
All right, that about does it for this review. Thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the entire thing. I will try to make more videos just demoing it and perhaps some other like gear that I have as well. And like I actually kind of struggle these days to think of ideas for new videos, so a new piece of gear is kind of a welcome change to have something to do. Anyway, yep, like I said, thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any comments, leave them down below. I hope that you will like the video and subscribe if you want to see more content like this or whatever. I kind of sometimes just make weird stuff. And that'll be it from me. So I'll see you guys next time. This is Akaticus, out.